Welcome to Responsibility Advocates. Today we are meeting with St. Bernard Parish runoff candidates for 2015. And today I would like to introduce Ray Lauga. Ray, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Matt.
It's a pleasure. We just wanted to ask you a few questions that we think the citizens of St. Bernard would like to know about you, and allow you some time to, in your own words, explain some of the things that are on your heart and on your mind. Instead of just giving you 2 minutes, we wanted to give you a few minutes to just share openly what's on your heart. And so this is an opportunity for you, and we just wanted to ask you some basic questions. And so the first thing that I wanted to know was, and everybody wants to know, is what is it that you're running for, and why have you decided to run for this position?
I'm running for Councilman at Large West for St. Bernard Parish, which is a parish-wide elected position. The reason I'm running is there's a couple of reasons. You know, when I ran for District A, I met with all the citizens. We put together a vision and what they wanted to see happen. I put the plan together with all the help of the whole community, and we put that plan in action and got it executed. And now that vision is actually becoming a reality now in District A. In the last 4 years, 45% of all residential construction permits issued in St. Bernard Parish were issued in District A. And then almost half of all commercial construction permits issued in St. Bernard Parish were issued in District A. So really that reality is starting to happen now. The Cultural Arts District was a vision, and now it's a reality. You know, we're really trying to, the riverfront access to create like a recreational meeting place, that's really starting to come together. We still like a year out, but things are starting to move in that right direction. And so I really wanted to take what I've done in District A, you know, providing a vision, and putting it into a plan and making it a reality. And I want to do that on a parish-wide basis. So I really do, I'm looking forward to going out into different areas. It's not my vision. I just want to meet with the people in different areas, find out what they want to see happen in their community, try and put a plan together, and let's try and execute it so that we can make it a reality just like I did in District A.
Fantastic. Can you share just a snippet of that vision, maybe?
Well, the vision, you know, this vision, it's not my vision to dictate what it is.
But it is a vision.
But it is a vision. But, you know, what I've done in District A, I met with people, you know, they said they wanted to have a place, you know, where we can access the river, and, you know, we're working towards that. We have some huge physical barriers right there, but that's happening. People want to see more cultural arts and historic stuff protected in District A. We've put those in place. We've put measures to protect the historic structures. We have a cultural arts district. Some more buildings have been purchased. And then the latest thing we're doing right now is people want to try and get more residential area in that old Abbey area. We're doing the overlay, which is going to, and I actually have people who are interested in building more residential, you know, multi-family residential construction to get high density people in there, so we can bring retail in, we can bring more, you know, more people to the area. And you know, Old Abbey has been in a heavy industrial area for 40 years. I grew up there, and really nothing has happened in 40 years. So I'm excited that we're trying something different, and that possibly that, you know, we're going to see something different in the future there.
Fantastic. Can you just share briefly your thoughts on the overlay? Do you think that's going to be a tremendously positive thing and a good positive change?
Correct. Well, right now, I-2 doesn't allow any type of residential use. So what we're doing is we're going to scale it down from I-2 to C-2, which is, you know, heavy commercial, and that will allow the residential uses to come into Old Abbey, which it was prohibited before. And a lot of people are looking for, you know, as they get older, they want to have a residence that isn't high maintenance. You know, they're going to want to live in something. They want to live in a higher density where we have more small retail and more, you know, activities to do. Old Abbey is very pedestrian friendly. We're in the process of moving a truck route from ACOC over to the Port Road. And so once that happens, that's really one of the main cogs. But the state, we're waiting on some state funding. We've already started the engineering on the first part of the Port Road access. And so those things are in place and moving forward right now. So those are just some of the samples of that. Fantastic.
Well, based on those answers, tell us, what separates you from your opponent?
I think my background in architecture, my experience with project management and bringing things to reality, I can provide that vision. I can help people put together that plan, and I could actually see it executed and make it happen. I've done it all my life. I'm a lifelong planner. I enjoy planning, and that's what I enjoy doing. And I'm excited to see other people's visions and try and put it together for them, help them, and put a plan in place to make it happen. And that is just a capability that my opponent just doesn't have.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, let me ask you another question. As an elected official, what do you think would be your personal accountability, or something that we can hold you responsible to, and the citizens of St. Bernard can hold you responsible to?
Well, I always pride myself on being accessible. My cell phone number's on the government webpage. I've had more town hall meetings than probably all my councilmen on the last 8 years combined. I usually have 6 a year, and that's you know, that's just my town hall meeting for District A, where anybody can come there, and that's usually the complaint meeting where I try and get things resolved. We try and use other neighborhood meetings to be more positive about promoting the neighborhood and moving things forward there. The other thing I feel that should be responsible for is that we don't have is that I personally want to be responsible for providing people with more opportunity here in St. Bernard. I just feel like in the last, you know, since Katrina, we've been doing just enough to get by. Now, sometimes it was all we could do is just enough to get by, but, you know, really we have to change that mindset. We really can't just keep treading water just to keep our head barely above. So I think it's going to be really imperative that we provide opportunity to people, that they feel like there's opportunity there. And part of that ties back to the small businesses. You know, a lot of small businesses have made the commitment and the investment in St. Bernard Parish, and I really feel like the government hasn't, you know, partnered with those people to try and grow them. And then once we do that, then that opens the door for new businesses to come into St. Bernard and make that commitment, that investment. Right now, I read a couple weeks back in USA Today, with the largest concentration of young entrepreneurs is in the city of New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And right now we're 4 miles away from the French Quarter, and if we can do things to attract that young entrepreneur, we go, hey, you can get cheap land here. You know, I think if you hire local people and you buy local supplies, you should be entitled to get some type of tax rebate off of your property taxes. And if we could get the sales tax, you know, lowered, then a young entrepreneur is going to go, hey, you know what? If I go and establish my business in St. Bernard, I'm going to be more competitive. I'm going to have a better chance of succeeding. And hopefully what I'm thinking is that if the person comes down here and he's in the community, you know, a lot of people who come here fall in love with the community and people. Hopefully they'll put some roots down and they'll put their family here. And then that's better for everybody else. It's going to be better for people in St. Bernard. They'll have an opportunity for employment, jobs, and see a growth. And I mean, it kind of ties back to providing a vision where people feel like there's opportunity. When people feel like there's not a lot of opportunity, you know, it really demotivates you to be a good citizen and to really, you know, go that extra mile to make it better for everybody's quality of life.
Fantastic. Thank you. So there's been a lot of stuff happening around the country for the past several months, and it's slowly become regional and then state and then even in our own local community. And so I wanted to ask a question. In your opinion, what do you think the temperature is, the racial temperature in our community is?
Well, I don't think it's, I mean, I don't think it's as bad as some people think it is. Okay. I feel like, you know, we have always, you know, I've always been in a community. There's no upper class. It's not like a separation of classes in St. Bernard Parish. You know, the last thing with the street naming, we had bad actors and extremists on both sides, and it really caused a lot of tension. And I think it prohibited a civil discussion, moving things forward, working together. And I found both sides were very resistant, and I'm just glad that, you know, no disturbances took place and stuff like that. But
so do you think that, to interrupt, do you think that the street name, do you think that created racial tension, or do you think that just exposed the racial tension that possibly was here?
Well, I think it took the extremists on both sides and brought them out, and I think it's not a pretty presentation for St. Bernard Parish. I don't think that's the majority of St. Bernard Parish. You know, me personally, you know, we have, all the streets have people who are relevant to St. Bernard Parish, you know, Jackson, Dubuchel, and you know, Colonial has a Islanos historic significance to it, the name of it. And I didn't feel like it was right to replace one person's history with another person's history. And so there had to be some opportunity there for a civil discussion and make progress. And unfortunately, that just didn't happen. And I'm really disappointed it didn't.
Okay, fantastic. There's a lot of leadership books that are out there, and there's a lot of people in leadership, and a lot of people make decisions based on different components in their life. And so as responsibility advocates, we are promoting responsible leadership, and one of those things that help us to make decisions between right or wrong is a compass, or a moral compass. And I wanted to know if you could explain to us, what is your moral compass?
I'm very proud of my parents and my grandparents, the way I was raised. And really, I base my compass on my consciousness. You know, I need to be able to put my head down on my pillow every night and go to sleep and feel good about the things I've done and the decisions I've made. And I take a lot of pride in that. And sometimes it's not the popular decision, but I sleep fine at night. And so that's really just what I use as my moral compass.
Okay. There's nothing that influences that, or just what you feel inside, or?
Well, I'm always receptive to people's input. I always never turn away any input I can receive on that. I always think everybody has a lot to learn, and I just try and learn it, and I just try and evaluate it myself. You know, that's basically what I do. I'm always receptive to people. I always want to listen and get input because I think it makes us all a better person, and it makes us better as a community and working together.
Sure. Okay, so here's now your opportunity to maybe set the record straight. Maybe there are some things that have been said about you in the candidacy, and maybe other people, or maybe while you were a councilman, that you'd never had a chance to explain, like, here, here's the story, here's what I wanted to explain. And so here's your few minutes to just give that opportunity to you to just like, here, I want to set the record straight. I want to share from my heart my feelings about this.
Well, I really feel like we are at a crossroads here in St. Bernard Parish, and I really want us to, you know, move in a more modern and progressive community where we are creating opportunities, where we are rewarding people who make the commitment and the investment in St. Bernard Parish. I feel like that hasn't happened enough. Some differences between me and my opponent, which I probably haven't highlighted or communicated as well as I wanted to, is that I think we need people on the council that are serving the public and not self-serving. And one big issue that me and my opponent differ for is the council pay raises. You know, I voted against the council pay raise. You can justify why you need it, the amount of hours in any kind of way, but I really feel like I want a person up there who's on the council and wants to be in that position because they feel in their heart it's important to them, not for any other reason, and it just detracts from it. And I voted against that council pay raise. And that's one big issue that I probably should try and communicate better, because I want people to be serving the public and not self-serving, and it's disappointing when I see that happen. The other big issue too is the water rates. You know, everybody's upset with the water rates. I had an amendment that was going to incrementally increase the water rates over time, and just like they did in New Orleans. I mean, they're increasing their water rates significantly more than us. But I wanted to increase the water rates over time because I wanted to give families time to adjust their budget over time,
Sure.
businesses to adjust their time over budget. And then, unfortunately, my opponent was the deciding vote against my amendment, which basically forced the water rates to double overnight. And so I just really want to communicate to people that that is two issues that we differ on. You talk about moral compass. 2 years ago, when our parish president had his personal issues, you know, it wasn't about his guilt or innocence. It was about, you know, what was right for St. Bernard Parish. And me, and unfortunately, I could only get 2 other councilmen to, you know, agree with me that we should ask the president to step down for the benefit of St. Bernard Parish, and he didn't. And then now, 2 years later, 26 indictments later, huge black eye, embarrassment to St. Bernard Parish. Now, my opponent, now he's saying, oh, he's got to go, where before he was saying, oh, innocent until proven guilty. You know, but you've got to take a decision. You're not up there thinking what you think is right or wrong. You got to make decisions what's right for St. Bernard Parish. And it was really immaterial whether the guilt or innocence was going on. It was about the image of St. Bernard Parish. It's about the people of St. Bernard Parish when they go out in the city. You know, they have to talk to their friends that live in other communities. Sure. And that's not what they want to see, is the figurehead representing them. And I think that flip-flopping on that issue kind of, you know, shows where you need to be able to make decisions. You need to have the vision and the foresight to look ahead and make decisions that's best for St. Bernard Parish. And I just think, you know, my opponent obviously demonstrated he didn't have that.
Fantastic. All right, well then this is your one opportunity to look into that camera and tell the people of St. Bernard one last thing, why you want them to vote for you.
All right. Well, I want to, you know, ask the people of St. Bernard to support me, and I want to earn your vote. I take a lot of pride in St. Bernard Parish. I think I've got a lot of accomplishments working with everybody in my community, and I really do want to put it together a bigger vision for parish-wide and make it a reality so everybody can feel good, your quality of life increases, and you feel like you have opportunity to grow, and that it's a place that you want your kids and your grandkids to grow in St. Bernard Parish. And I thank you for your support.
All right, fantastic. Mr.
Thank you,
Ray,
man.
thank you for joining us today.
right.
This was a pleasure, and it was a joy to hear your answers.
I appreciate
luck
it.
to
Thank
you.
All right.
Thank you.